The story of Queen Bilqis, often called the most mysterious queen in history, is one of the most fascinating tales ever told. She is mentioned in the Qur'an and described as the ruler of the kingdom of Sheba. According to Islamic tradition, she eventually became the wife of Prophet Sulaiman, peace be upon him. Her kingdom stretched across parts of South Arabia and even reached into Africa, making her a leader of great influence and power. Over the centuries, people have shared astonishing claims about her. Some even suggested that she was not entirely human, but half human and half jinn. Could it truly be possible that Prophet Sulaiman, who had control over the jinn and made them serve him, married such a being? What do authentic Islamic stories actually say about this? Interestingly, this remarkable story does not begin with the queen herself. It begins with a much smaller creature, a little bird known as the Hudhud, or the hoopoe. This unique bird could understand human language and was skilled in delivering news from faraway lands. It was through Hudhud's journey that Queen Bilqis, who at the time worshipped the sun, was guided toward the truth of Islam, and through this, history itself was forever changed. Before diving deeper, remember to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss more enlightening stories like this. Now, let us begin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We relate to you, O Muhammad, the best of stories in what we have revealed to you of this Qur'an, although you were, before it, among the unaware. Surah Yusuf 12:3. At that time, the mighty army of Prophet Sulaiman had assembled, waiting for the inspection of their leader. This was no ordinary army. It was perhaps the most unique force in all of human history. It was made up not only of men on foot and horseback, but also of invisible jinn warriors, flocks of birds, and even ferocious animals. The winds themselves obeyed Sulaiman's command and could carry him wherever he wished to go. The human soldiers formed the base of the army, strong and disciplined. The jinn forces, unseen by human eyes, struck terror into the hearts of enemies who could not even perceive their presence. Among the animals, lions were appointed as leaders, followed by tigers and other powerful beasts. Birds such as hawks, falcons, and most importantly, the hudhud, played special roles. The hudhud acted as the intelligence agent, tasked with flying across distant lands, spying, observing, and then returning to deliver reports. This made the hudhud's position not only prestigious, but also extremely sensitive. On the day when the troops were gathered, a troubling detail was noticed. Among the many birds present, Hudhud was missing. The animals whispered nervously to each other. When the Prophet arrives, he will surely notice Hudhud's absence. Indeed, when Prophet Sulaiman finally approached the army, the whispers grew louder. Soon, it became obvious that the little bird was nowhere to be seen. But Hudhud was not being careless or disobedient. Far away, in the kingdom of Sheba, he had flown across great distances, driven by an inner sense that something important awaited him. Landing on a tall tree overlooking the city, Hudhud carefully observed the streets, the palaces, and the gates. Something unusual caught his attention. Crowds of people were gathering for a grand ceremony. Curious, he approached another hoopoe bird from that city and asked, "O beautiful Hudhud, tell me, what is happening here?" The bird replied, "The people are preparing to see their queen, the Queen of Sheba. They are about to perform a ceremony in which they all bow down to the sun." Hudhud's eyes widened. His instincts had been correct. He had discovered something truly significant. He watched as guards and soldiers filled the square, followed by commanders and officials. Then, finally, Queen Bilqis herself appeared, seated upon a majestic throne. When she rose and led the people, she lifted her hands toward the sun and bowed, and all of her subjects followed her example. Hudhud was shocked. He thought to himself, "How will my master, Prophet Sulaiman, react when he hears of this?" Without wasting time, Hudhud spread his wings and began the long, tiring journey back to Sulaiman's camp, carrying with him news that would change the fate of a kingdom. After days of exhausting flight, Hudhud finally returned to the place where Prophet Sulaiman's army had gathered. The moment he landed, He was surrounded by angry birds who scolded him. "Where have you been? Our master asked about you. You had better have a worthy excuse." Nervously, Hudhud fluttered away and made his way directly to the Prophet's tent. He was trembling, for he knew how serious it was to be absent without permission. Entering quietly through the window while Prophet Sulaiman was eating, Hudhud perched humbly on the edge of the table. Keeping his head low, he offered greetings and dared not look directly into the Prophet's face, focusing only on his hands out of respect and fear. Finally, he spoke. "My master, I bring important news from a faraway land. I have seen a woman who rules over the people of Sheba. She sits on a magnificent throne and has been given everything one could imagine. Yet I also witnessed her and her people bowing down to the sun instead of to Allah. Shaitan has deceived them and made their actions appear beautiful to them." These words were powerful. Hudhud had shown that his absence had been for a critical reason. He had uncovered a people led astray from the truth. Prophet Sulaiman, though stern, responded with calm authority. "We must verify what you have said. I will write a letter. You will take it to them, then wait for their reply." The Prophet wrote a message and sealed it. Hudhud carried the letter in his beak and flew once more toward the land of Sheba. Reaching the palace gardens, he found the queen's chamber with its wide balcony. Waiting for the right moment, he dropped the letter gently inside her room. Queen Bilqis awoke to find a strange letter lying upon her bed. Alarmed, she called her guards, demanding, "Who dares enter my private chamber?" The guards swore that no one had come near. Their swords had been unsheathed, and their eyes had been vigilant all night. Confused and unsettled, Bilqis unfolded the letter and read, "This message is from Sulaiman. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, do not exalt yourselves above me, but come to me in submission." Her face grew stern. "Who is this king who dares command me in such a way?" she asked. Immediately she summoned her council for an urgent meeting. When the advisors gathered, she addressed them. "O my counselors, I have received a letter from Sulaiman. He begins in the name of Allah, the compassionate and merciful. He instructs us to come to him humbly and submit. What is your advice?" One advisor warned, "It is clear he calls us to surrender. This is a declaration of war. Let us fight." Another agreed, "We are strong. Our armies are powerful. We should march and meet him with force." Most of the council echoed these aggressive opinions, but one wise elder raised a different concern. "Where is the messenger who brought this letter? That is the only one who can reveal Sulaiman's true intention." Bilqis admitted that she had found the letter mysteriously placed upon her bed. This in itself was unsettling, for no messenger had been seen. The elder shook his head. "Then we should be cautious. If he can send a letter in such a manner, without a messenger, imagine what he can do in war. I advise patience." Finally, Queen Bilqis spoke again. "When kings march against a land, they destroy it and humiliate its nobles. I fear this might happen to us. Therefore, I suggest we send him a grand gift and wait to see his response." Her council agreed. Preparations began immediately. Artists and craftsmen worked day and night, using gold and precious jewels to create a magnificent present. At last, a golden tray decorated with jewels and flanked by 2 golden wolves was completed. It shone brilliantly, a gift fit for a king. When Queen Bilqis inspected it, she was pleased. She ordered her messengers to carry the treasure to Sulaiman, and also sent one of her commanders to secretly observe the strength of his army. "Bring me knowledge," she instructed. "Learn what he truly desires from us." Meanwhile, Hudhud had already returned to Sulaiman with news of the queen's plan. The Prophet understood clearly. The gift was not only meant to appease him, but also to test his intentions and measure his power. So, Sulaiman commanded his vast army to prepare for display. "Let them feel defeated before they even meet me," he declared. When the messengers of Bilqis arrived, they were overwhelmed. What they saw left them speechless. Sulaiman's army was unlike anything they could imagine, rows of human soldiers, ferocious lions, tigers, elephants, birds flying in perfect formation, and even unseen forces moving with eerie precision. They watched in disbelief as weapons moved on their own, carried by jinn invisible to the human eye. One of the stunned messengers whispered, "What is this?" An officer replied calmly, "This is only a small group of jinn soldiers completing their morning training." Terrified, the messengers realized that no human kingdom could withstand such a force. Still, they delivered the golden gift with trembling hands. But Prophet Sulaiman did not even accept it. He sent it back with a stern message. "Do you think you can impress me with wealth? What Allah has given me is far greater than anything you possess. Take back your gift. If I come to you with my forces, I will drive you from your lands in humiliation." The messengers, shaken, begged for clarity. "Then what does Sulaiman want from us?" The officer answered simply, "He desires only one thing, that your queen and your people submit to Allah and to him as his prophet." The messengers returned to Queen Bilqis with this reply. She listened carefully as they described everything they had witnessed, the unmatched army, the rejection of her gift, and the prophet's powerful words. Lowering her head in thought, she realized the matter was far more serious than she had first believed. While Queen Bilqis was still pondering her next step, Prophet Sulaiman convened his own council in Jerusalem. Ministers, commanders, scholars, and warriors gathered, with 2 lions stationed at the entrance to guard the meeting. Hudhud, the little bird, also perched nearby, ready to report. Sulaiman raised his voice. "All praise belongs to Allah, who has granted us this kingdom, this knowledge, and this power. Yet my heart burns with grief. How is it that while we raise the banner of Tawhid, there are still nations who bow to the sun? This is not only foolishness, it is an insult to the human mind." An army commander stood up, gripping his sword. "My lord, give the command, and I will march upon Saba. By Allah, I will tear down the queen's throne and crush her people who deny the truth." But Prophet Sulaiman, wise and merciful, shook his head. "I do not seek destruction. Violence is not my first choice. I prefer that she come to us herself, that she might see with her own eyes. Yet before her arrival, who among you can bring me her throne?" A powerful jinn spoke confidently. "I can bring it to you before you rise from your seat. You know of my strength." Then a man of deep knowledge, one blessed with special wisdom from Allah, Ilm al-Ladun, stepped forward. "By the permission of Allah, I can bring it before your eyes blink." And at once, before anyone could comprehend how, the grand throne of Queen Bilqis appeared in front of them. Its sudden arrival was nothing less than miraculous, a feat of divine power that no human could ever achieve. The entire court fell into awe. The throne was enormous, adorned with symbols of the sun, radiant jewels, and intricate designs. Sulaiman gazed at it thoughtfully. He noticed the sun motif carved into the throne and declared, "How misguided are those who worship the sun! Even if the sun itself were made of gold, bowing to it would still be nonsense. True glory belongs only to Allah." He then ordered parts of the throne's design to be altered, so that when Bilqis arrived, she might reflect on the futility of sun worship. Meanwhile, Queen Bilqis prepared her journey. After long deliberation with her advisors, she decided that the only way forward was to go personally to meet Prophet Sulaiman. A grand caravan was arranged, filled with gifts more lavish than the first. But as her camels and soldiers marched, Bilqis carried within her heart a growing unease. The stories her messengers had told her, the terrifying army, the miraculous wonders, could no longer be dismissed. Prophet Sulaiman, foreseeing her arrival, summoned his greatest architect. "Build me a palace upon water," he ordered, "one that appears to float. Its entrance should be transparent, so that whoever walks upon it believes they are walking on water." The architect bowed. "Shall I use pure glass for the floor, so the water beneath can be seen clearly?" "Yes," Sulaiman replied. And let the ceiling also be glass, so that sunlight may reflect on the waters and scatter light beautifully. Make the walls of mirrors, so that everything within dazzles the eye. With the help of the jinn, the construction was completed in a remarkably short time. The palace shone like a jewel above the water, a marvel never before seen in human history. As Queen Bilqis and her caravan drew near the land of Sulaiman, she began to witness astonishing sights, strange wonders that confirmed the reports of her messengers. Part of the Prophet's army marched in view, soldiers alongside lions and tigers, birds flying in perfect ranks, and even forces she could not comprehend. Her heart began to tremble. The pride she once carried as queen of a mighty nation now weakened, replaced by awe and fear. At last, she reached the city. Her eyes widened as she beheld palaces of gold, columns encrusted with gems, and artistry beyond imagination. Yet what stunned her most was the entrance to the palace of Sulaiman itself. The glass floor gleamed like still water, so clear that fish could be seen swimming beneath. As she approached, she hesitated, believing it was water. She lifted her royal gown slightly to keep it from getting wet. And in that moment, her legs were revealed. Here lies one of the most mysterious elements of her story. According to certain old traditions, Prophet Sulaiman had built this glass floor not merely for beauty, but as a test. Some claimed that Queen Bilqis was not entirely human, but half-jinn. Her father, they said, had been an ifrit, a powerful jinn, while her mother was a human queen. If this rumor was true, then her legs would reveal it, for the jinn were often described as having unusual or hairy features. But when Sulaiman saw her legs, he found them to be entirely human, graceful and normal. The suspicion was erased. She was indeed a woman of flesh and blood, not a being of jinn. After passing the shimmering glass floor, Queen Bilqis was escorted into the grand hall where Prophet Sulaiman awaited. Before her stood the majestic throne she had left behind in Saba, yet it appeared slightly altered. Sulaiman asked her calmly, "Is this your throne?" Bilqis studied it closely. At first, she was uncertain. The throne looked exactly like hers, but some details were changed. Finally, she replied carefully, "It seems to be mine, or something very much like it." Beneath the throne, Sulaiman had placed an inscription, "We are among those who submit to Allah." At that moment, Bilqis realized that her throne had truly been brought here by means beyond human ability. It had been transported across vast lands before her very eyes could witness it. This was not a trick of men. It was a sign of divine power. Her thoughts swirled. The more she reflected, the more she understood how shallow her people's worship of the sun had been. All the grandeur of her kingdom, the wealth, the technology, the industry, all seemed fragile and meaningless compared to the wisdom and truth presented by the Prophet. That day, Sulaiman invited her to dine with him. As they sat together, he spoke not as a conqueror, but as a guide. Allah is the Lord of the heavens and the earth. He created the sun to serve humankind, just as flowers serve him by blooming and butterflies serve him by flying. For a human being to bow before the sun, which itself is merely a creation, is a humiliation of human dignity. True honor lies only in bowing to Allah, the one who never sets and never fades. These words struck deep into her heart. For the first time, the brightness of the sun dimmed in her soul, replaced by a new light, a light that never dies, the light of faith. At that very moment, her advisors came forward and whispered, "My queen, the sun is about to set. It is time for our daily prostration." But Queen Bilqis rose with new conviction. "Fools," she declared, "do you still think the sun deserves worship? Shaitan deceived us, making our false beliefs appear beautiful. But now I see the truth. Leave me and hear the words of Sulaiman." Her advisors shrank back in fear and confusion, leaving her alone with the Prophet. With emotion welling in her heart, Bilqis turned to Sulaiman and proclaimed her faith. She admitted that she had been misled and with sincerity she embraced Islam, submitting herself to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Soon after, the people of Saba followed their queen's example. The rituals of sun worship were abandoned, replaced by true devotion to Allah. The nation was transformed, not by war or conquest, but by guidance, wisdom, and the courage of a bird who refused to remain silent. Thus ended one of the most remarkable stories in history, a tale in which a small creature carried great knowledge, a queen humbled her pride, and a prophet showed that real power is not measured by armies or wealth, but by faith in Allah. The Qur'an preserves this story as a timeless lesson. Knowledge is a treasure, truth is a gift from Allah, and even the smallest of beings can alter the course of nations. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Your support allows us to share more inspiring stories from the Qur'an and history. Until next time, may Allah protect and guide you.